Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. I am your host, Mark Ross. And with me tonight is my good brother, Xegounada. Did I say that right? Or should I just call you
Xegonuada.
Zagon?
You could call me
Zagon.
Xegon, but it's
Zeg-
Xegonuada.
Yeah. Okay, my brother. Okay. Okay. I appreciate you coming on the show, brother. I really, really do, man. I think it wasn't just happenstance that you and I will be having this convo, bro, because we come from two different worlds, man. But I think your mind is in the right spot, bro, in terms of bringing, uh, peace and awareness and showing love. You know what I mean, and through your spoken word, that is. You did what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, man. Tell us about yourself, brother Zagon.
So I am a Milwaukee native, born here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here in the United States of the Americas. And I'm a writer. I'm a motivational speaker. I have a bachelor's in business and administration, straight up from Cardinal Street. Got my associates at Bryan and Stratton College. I graduated from Outlook University. I have a love and a passion for music and just uplifting people overall. I grew up a joyful child in a world that wasn't so joyful. It was before, but then as I began growing older, the world started becoming a more, not so joyful place. And I started to
Yeah,
figure out why, and that's what led me on this journey. I'm very enlightened. I study a lot. I read a lot. I write a lot. I exercise a lot. Health is wealth. These are the things that I know. And I'm just on this journey having this human experience, man. That's just me in a nutshell so far.
my brother, my brother. All right, man. Excuse me. During our initial conversations, Zagon, you told me about how dysfunctional life was for you growing up, right?
Yes.
So can you share with us about how that was?
Well, growing up for me, I didn't know I had younger siblings until I turned 13, 14 and met my dad for the first time. But before that, uh, I was raised by a single mother who worked two, three jobs, man, took care of the household, well educated, grew up on the block, man, hopped off the porch at a very young age, dealt with a lot of unnecessary arguments, not just me dealing with unnecessary arguments, but seeing a lot of adults, family, brother, sister, mom, brother, mom and her siblings, seeing a lot of unnecessary arguments simply because of misunderstandings and um, the inability to effectively communicate and listen to each other to understand. And so as I was growing up, my whole mind was curious as to why this
Mm,
was. And with
mm,
me being so young, I thought to myself unconsciously, there has to be a better way. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
so growing up with these things in mind, seeing these things every time I would try to make a suggestion, it was always, well, children are to be seen and not heard. Go sit down somewhere. You don't need to be in here while adults is talking. And now that I'm older, looking back then, I can tell that my family really wasn't aware. They weren't self-aware, and they
Mm.
weren't aware to this journey that we live as human beings. And we grew up in the Baptist church. I grew up in the Baptist church, sang in the choir, was an usher, was Sunday school teacher later on, then traveled
Okay,
with the church,
okay.
then went to camp, all types of stuff. So I really had a solid background where I learned about love. I learned about God in so many different ways, man. But still, even the people who, claim to be Christians, Muslims, whatever, you know, they suffered from a lot of fleshly things, arguments, relationships problems, early pregnancies, kids
Mm,
running away from home,
mm,
dropouts, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
People suffering from drugs in the streets, going to jail at early ages, people getting their doors kicked down on the block. You don't even know what's going on. All you know is the marshals came, they picking them up and they taking them away, all to
Say
find out
what?
they getting months later. This is all the things we witnessed on the block, you know what I'm saying? And so especially in my generation, I'm a 92 generation. So
Okay.
These are all the effects of the 80s and the 70s. You know what I'm saying? When crack hit the streets, dope hit the streets, weed hit the streets, all these drugs hit the streets. And now because uh the so-called black man not able to get a job like that, um he's pushed out into the streets, and then you got welfare and all these things
Mm.
playing a hand, and I'm finding out about these things as I'm coming and growing up into a toddler to a child to a young man. And so it, I'm as I'm getting this information, man, and seeing all these things before me, my mind was just everywhere, like, okay, so what's the right way to go? You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? What's the
Mm-hmm.
right way to go? What's the actual right thing to do? Who do I need to be? You know what I'm saying? Because moms want me to be this honor roll student, go to college and become a doctor, lawyer, and all these other things. And then the
Yes.
family putting pressure on me. Oh, you so smart, cuz you don't need to be out here in these streets. And I get all of that. But at the same time, in my mind, with the things I've watched, the things I've seen, and then when I get around other brothers, mentors, and they talking about the rights of manhood. You know what I'm saying? The rights of passage to manhood. And I'm listening and I'm like, well, why didn't my uncles talk about this? And then why didn't my brother talk about this? And why don't my cousins talk about this? Well, the reason why they can't talk about it is because they're suffering from society. They're suffering from the system. They out here with their friends, kicking and trying to, find their place in the world. You feel what I'm saying? And so
Yes,
when
sir.
you the youngest of two older ones, and then the oldest of younger ones, but don't know it yet, it kind of puts me in a position of, well, I grew up alone, didn't have friends, didn't I had cousins that I grew up with, but man, we lived in different households, so rules was different. How my mama raised me is not how my aunties raised their kids. So there was a lot of friction with that, and it was just a lot of it was a lot of separation, man. And then adults will get into it. Well, you ain't going over there no more because they don't want you over there. It's really not they don't want me over there. You just mad at my auntie right now, or you mad at my uncle right now, or you mad at my grandma right now, or you mad at my sister. You know what I'm saying? Or my sister mad at you, or my auntie's mad at you, so I can't come over. It's just a lot of stuff. And I learned then, now that I'm older, I learned how immature adults can be. I learned how stagnant adults can be in their thinking. Um, Adults can cut off their own growth, especially when it comes down to raising children effectively, because children help you grow just as well as you are there to guide us through our journey. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, none of us know it all. So we should always be open to listening and learning more, right? And so
Yes, sir.
all these things, man, it had me feeling unheard. You know, I felt unheard. I felt like my presence didn't matter. I felt abandoned. I felt like I wasn't wanted. Um, I felt like I didn't belong at one point in time. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't
Hmm.
fit in. And then it was one point in time where I was asking myself, like, why do you want to fit in? In the midst of me wanting to fit in, I'm literally challenging myself, like, well, why do you want to fit in? Why
Right.
does this
Right.
entice you? And that's when I started learning awareness. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yes, sir.
I'm 12, 13, 14. So I'm thinking about all these things like, well, why do you want to fit in? That look good, but no. So I had a real conscious mind. My mindset was real solid growing up as a teenager, you know what I'm saying? From a boy to a teenager.
Yes,
And,
sir.
I still walk my path. I still got caught up in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Playing with guns and kicking it with the wrong crowd and going to parties late night, engaging in sex at an early age, smoking weed at an early age, drinking at an early age, simply because these are the things that my peers was doing to overcome their anxiety, their stress, what they was going through. Because every time we would drink and smoke, we'll
Mm.
laugh, we'll joke, you know what I'm saying? We'll have fun. And that made us forget about going home. So now we out here kicking and having fun. About we done forgot moms and cousins. I told her, I can't wait till you get grown. We high, we chilling, we looking at the cars like, oh, that look like an ice cream cone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just doing things to get away from, the stress of home, man, and having to deal with our parent or our parents and just sharing each other's stories, man. And on top of that, I grew up with a lot. So when I was in seventh grade, I hung around a lot of older cats. I hung around the ninth graders, the 10th graders, you know what I'm saying, the 11th graders, they grew in a liking to me because I knew the
Yeah.
Bible. I studied, I knew other information. So every time we would get around each other, I would always just share with them the things that I learned. And they was intrigued. Sometimes they'd be like, what you talking about, bro? Man, be quiet, man. You talking crazy. And I'd be like, no, for real, yo, y'all ain't never did this research. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
as I grew up, man, it was just like people started to like me simply because of I always had something interesting to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just, oh, I hit this chick last night, or yeah, old girl like me, and what we doing tonight? Oh, we going to the club, and we finna go hit out of town and go to the strip club. You know what I'm saying? All the things I was too young to do. You know what I mean? Eventually I got to doing with fake IDs and stuff like that, hanging around them. But these is the things, and once again, these are all the things my family didn't want me to do. These are all the things my mom didn't want me to do. My brother didn't want me to do because he put pressure on himself, thinking that he had to be an example for me. When really nobody took the time out to really realize, like, well, he's a young man, he's a boy. He's going to have to live this life and experience it in order for
Mm,
him to grow in the way that he should grow. Nobody was thinking like that. Nobody was thinking
mm.
like that. It was either do what I say or get out of my house.
Yeah, that
Do
was.
as I say, you know what I'm saying? Or you can't be
Not
around me.
as I do. Yeah. And you hit on
Right?
something, brother. You hit on something, brother, that hit me, man. You said you mentioned stagnant
Yeah.
living. And people, especially like you said from the block, we have this mindset of this is what the world is. We accept it. So we just gonna do what we do just to get by. And
Right.
doing what we do just to get by isn't always the smart thing to do.
No, it's not.
But brother Zagan, understand though, your parents, our parents, we weren't raised in an environment to, as you say from scripture, teach a child in the way that he should go.
Yes, indeed.
Because
Indeed.
right, because you got these younger cats that's growing up in environments, man, that's so dysfunctional and violent. That's all they know. You feel what
Right.
I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
So our parents aren't really raising our kids to be better than them or more productive. It's just a repetition of the hamster wheel. They
Man.
they did the hamster wheel until they got old. Now they got kids. The kids are on the hamster wheel.
Exactly. All over again. It's like a repeating, right?
Yeah.
And I was just talking to my cousin about the same thing not too long ago. Um, because going back to stagnant living, stagnant thinking, that's all about your willingness, your will, and your desire to learn. See, a lot of us eat generation by generation,
Yeah.
generation by generation, and you can see the difference because the generations before us in the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s, see, they had something to fight for: segregation, civil rights, all these movements that was going on because how they were being treated by the powers that be. The
Dig
music even reflected that, right? And then
diggity.
all of a sudden, when you get to the mid 70s, going towards the early 80s, mid 80s, now we got drugs, sex, and you know, the family being broken up.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, due to those things, we head into my generation. Now it's forget the police, forget this system. I'm finna make it happen on my own. Me and my crew finna get it together. And in the midst of that, everybody's strung out on drugs, people coming from dope houses, people just watching their families. Cause now we used to own things that got torn down. Now we hustling in the streets and we don't own nothing. All these drug dealers, all these hustlers making all this money. Nobody thought about buying land to get their family off the block. Nobody
No.
thought about, you know what I'm saying, investing in stock to really increase their money more. Nobody thought about a garden, a community garden. You know what I'm saying? Nobody thought about doing natural healing and herbs until like probably 20 years ago, man. when the communities see, I this whole conscious wave that people are on now, I've been on that since a teenager. And when I was on it as a teenager, they wasn't on it.
Man.
See, we heard about KRS-One and Rakim and them. They been
Yes,
saying
sir.
it, but that was the saviors of their time. We talking about the savior of my time. You know what I'm saying?
We don't got
And
none. You don't got none.
and we do.
But
However, remember, Jesus had 12. I'm just speaking metaphorically. Jesus had 12 disciples, man. He couldn't do that by himself.
you're right.
From life to death, from life to death. Everybody that was on this journey helped him on his purpose, regardless if he understood it or not. They helped him on his purpose. Now it's the same thing with a lot of us. You always gonna have that one that's aware, right? And then you gonna have the rest of them that's around that like the light, that love the energy, that love the realness, but can't understand the journey and the path. They can't understand it. So yeah, they down with you when you speaking good, uplifting them. When they down, they going through break divorces, abortions, breakups, just got out of jail, all that stuff, and you uplifting them, you putting fire to their spirit. They like, man, you made me feel better just for this moment. Because now once you leave my presence, once you leave this energy, this good energy, this peace, now you go back to the same thing that hurt you. And now
Mm,
you in pain all over again. You diseased. And so
mm,
the medicine, it works, but it didn't have a long-term effect because what's the real reason? Anytime you take medicine, you gotta cut off what you had to get medicine for anyway. So prime example, if you have like herpes, AIDS, HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis, they say these things are incurable, but let's be honest. When you take certain herbs, which God said is for the healing of the nations, the herbs are for the healing of the nations. When you use the herbs and you do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and you cut off the things that gave you that in the first place, you heal yourself. The body was made to heal. But guess what? My people suffer for their lack of knowledge. So when you
mm.
give them knowledge, they got it, but they like, I'm gonna keep eating these pork chops. I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep eating this meat. I'm gonna keep laying around not doing anything. No,
yeah,
I'm gonna keep hustling the streets. No, I'm
there
gonna
you go.
keep beating on this woman. No, I'm gonna keep being controlling. I'm gonna keep being egoistic, not realizing that psychologically, spiritually, mentally, and relationship wise is killing you.
Telling you.
And
Hey,
now,
brother.
yes, sir. Come on, let's
Look,
go.
I wanna ask this question because I think this goes back into the generational curses that you was talking about.
Yeah.
Being raised by a single parent, did your mother ever took the time to talk to you about your dad?
Well, um, my mama, I love my mom, man. I love her
What's
so
up?
much. You know what I'm saying? She was she's a tell it like it is type woman, right? And
Mhm.
so, my mom was the type of mom, well, if he ain't around, there's no need. But then I think there was a point in time in my life, I think around 10 or 11, he would call and I would be asleep or I would be gone. And she'll let me know like your dad want to talk to you, or it'll be moments where I'm either getting woke up out my sleep to talk to him and didn't even know I was talking to him, didn't even remember, or it was moments where she was like, "Well, your dad called and he wanted to come see you," and I'm just like clueless, like, okay, because it wasn't. I was looking for my dad, but I really wasn't looking for my dad. You know what I'm saying? I was
Yes, sir.
wondering
Yes,
why
sir.
he wasn't around because of certain things that would go on in the house with me and moms and my brother and my sister. But then I'm just like, well, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Because life started making me, um, I started to withdraw myself from reality, you know what I'm saying, and create my own type of world to be in through music, through poetry, through being out here kicking it in the streets with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I had a real Christ journey, man. For real, for real.
Yes,
And
sir.
then just when we did talk about my dad, it was just moments where I found out the relationship between her and him for real, and what really happened. And I was just like, oh, that's why she felt that way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I was raised by my mom on this side of the family because if I had been raised on my dad's side of the family, I probably wouldn't even be here right now.
Oh, it's worse?
Honestly, yeah, it would have been way worse.
Okay. Okay.
It would have
So
been way
how did that
worse.
so how did that shape your view of fatherhood, brother?
Well, for me, I didn't say my dad not being in my life did three things. It made me my own father, and it kind of made me like not receptive to other brothers in my life. Although I would listen to some of the brothers that came into my life and gave me knowledge, like my godfather, who was a pastor, passed away in the pulpit, man. Like he was an A1 dude on my life. It was at a point in time where he took me under his wing, and you know what I'm saying? He was teaching me so much. I didn't travel with the brother. Like he was a real straight up man, bro. Omega Psi Phi fraternity, bro.
Oh, okay.
He was a straight, yeah, he was a straight up gangster, man. I love bro. Like, oh man, I love bro, because bro was really straight, narrow, up and down. He didn't play, and he was a Leo too. So he was like,
Oh,
he
well,
was real
shoot.
like, yeah, man. I really
Him and
vibe
I
with
would have
bro.
got along, bro.
Yeah,
He and I
most
would
that
have
cause
got along because I'm a Leo too. Yeah.
oh, that's what's up. I rock with the Leo. I'm an Aries, so it's like I rock with the Leos, man. The lion and the lamb. You know what I'm
You
saying? So
dig?
it's just like, bro, I really appreciated him because he had spiritual gifts that a lot of people didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I knew that me being around him, it was meant for me to be around him because eventually he passed me the baton. Not the baton of becoming a father, not the baton of becoming the next pastor in this place, but he passed me the baton of being able to speak to people effectively to where it touches their heart and their mind and it encourages them to want to be their better self. And it makes them want to change, bro. And
Yes, sir.
that's my look on fatherhood. My godfathers, yeah, they probably got divorces, they probably passed away, you know what I'm saying? They probably living their life now. But as a child, when we are children, and this is real, when we are children, we don't fully understand the decision making of adults because we don't see everything. But as we get older and we
Yes,
gain
sir.
more knowledge and we experience life, we begin to see, damn, I understand what my mama was talking about. Damn, I
Mm,
understand what grandma was saying. I understand what uncle was saying. I understand what big cuz was saying. I understand what my brother and sister was going through. I
mm,
understand why me and this person don't have a relationship because
mm.
certain things are not meant to be, or they would have made things worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
sir.
being on this journey, fatherhood, I would love to be a father one day. But now it's not the time. Looking at what's going on in the world, I just came from a school meeting with my cousin. And they was talking about, the parent and teacher relationship and how that increases the teacher and student relationship and the parent and student relationship and the methods that they take to, what I'm saying, enforce that and to strengthen it. And it was just beautiful, man. I took all of that in and I was saying to myself, well, I don't have children yet, but a lot of people say, well, you a community father too. And I don't see myself as a community father because I I go to different schools with certain of my OGs, some of the brothers that took me under their wing, and I
Mm,
listen in, and I go do my poetry, and then I go speak to students, and I shake hands, and I affirm the young kings and queens. But I haven't taken any young brothers and sisters under my wing personally to actually give them the tools of life because one, I'm 32. I'm still learning myself even more and more each day, man. And I look at myself as I'm not ripe yet. I'm
mm,
not I and yeah, I'm not downplaying myself because I trust in my gifts, the gifts that God gave me. However, I'm sharpening up still. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to lead this new generation in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? When they look at me, I want them to see what it means to be human.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? I want them to understand, yeah, we gonna have ups and downs,
Yes,
but
sir.
that means we alive and we still, you know what I'm saying, have another chance to become a better us. Just keep putting in the best effort, keep
Mm,
being consistent, being persistent, you know what I'm saying? And
yes, sir.
trusting yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be aware, give yourself space, time, silence, and so you know what I'm saying? That because that's
Yes,
my
sir.
journey, man. It's all
Yes, sir.
about the self-awareness, bro. Through self-awareness, I'm able to know everybody else and understand what everybody else is going through, besides judge and point a finger. Oh, you shouldn't have did this. And remember you did this, or you had a baby at an early age. You wasn't ready to be no baby. Like all of those things are irrelevant. It happened. It's a decision made. Did you learn the lesson? Okay, what knowledge have you gained? Apply that and do better. It's that simple,
Mhm.
bro. You
Yes,
know,
sir. It
but it
is. It is. It is. I appreciate that, man.
for
Did you ever get
sure.
a chance to talk to your father about why he wasn't there? If you
I talked to
did,
my I talked to my dad, man.
good, good.
My dad, I learned I learned that my dad, he wasn't like my mom. They were the black sheep of their family. And so he wasn't favored out of his brothers and sisters. Um, and on top of that, he left home early. He left home at, I think, between the ages of 13 and 16, and he never looked back. He went into the military afterwards, and then, he became a sergeant, you know what I'm saying? And then after he became a sergeant, man, I guess he lived his life Desert Storm, being a ladies' man. By
Mm,
the time he met my mom, uh, he was at least like 21, 22,
okay.
because by the time she conceived me in 92, he was going on 25.
Mm.
And
So he was
so
still
with
young too.
exactly, and my mom was 32 when she had me, and I'm 32 now, and I ain't got no kids. So it was just like I'm looking at these journeys. I'm looking at both of their journeys, and I'm just looking at the time they grew up in, how their parents were. And I was kind of furious with my dad because I'm like, you making excuses.
Mm, mm-hmm.
You
Sounds
know what
like
I'm
it.
saying? And then that's because I used to hear it from the women and the men, like, you making excuses, stop making excuses, stop making excuses. And I never knew what an excuse was. I thought an excuse, shit, if I was sick, that's my excuse not to come to work. You know what I'm saying? Or you
Yeah.
miss work. Well, I was sick. That's an excuse. Of course. Well, what you want me to say? I didn't want to come to work today. I didn't want to get no money today. No, I was sick. I didn't feel well. And so, I think
What did he tell
people,
you?
he
What did he
told
tell you?
me, my dad told me my mom wasn't ready to get married because I asked him, why didn't you marry my mom? She wasn't ready. I'm like, okay. And then two, um he he
It
was
sounded like
just
he
caught
wasn't
up
ready
in
to be a dad.
he wasn't. And so he couldn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't say that because I don't know if it's a pride thing or anything, but he couldn't just say that. And then I would have accepted that better than anything else. You know what I'm saying? I would respect it that honestly. Like, you weren't ready to be a father. I understand. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But at least you could
Right.
at least do your best.
Right.
You know what I'm
Make
saying?
some attempt.
Like
Right. Right.
me and my dad then got into it a couple times. You know what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
where I was about to severely hurt my dad. Like, me and my dad taller than me by a couple inches, a few inches, but I love my dad, but I've been exercising. I've been taking care of myself, man. Man, I be ready. I be like, come on with it. It's
Right.
been times where he didn't threaten to pull his gun out on me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Oh
like,
no. Oh no.
No, I get it. I get it. I understand you older now. You know what I'm saying? You not doing well. You know what I'm saying? And it's showing. And I get it. He been in and out the hospital and stuff like that. And he don't believe in the Bible and none of that stuff because he didn't travel and went to Egypt and all this other stuff. And he didn't did some extensive studies himself and watched plenty TV and stuff like that. But on an organic level, um, me and my dad don't always see eye to eye because he feel like with his age, he know more than me. And I'm like, no, pops, you still learning because the things that you learned was for you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
If you really pay attention to what's going on today, we have technology now. We have technology. So I'm able to do all the research that you had to travel and search to get. I'm able to have that at my disposal with ease and just take the time out to read it, highlight, and take notes and really analyze it for myself without anybody having to tell me nothing. Y'all had to talk to professions. Y'all had to listen to this person and that person and receive knowledge from them and go do information on your own. I did the same thing, but you know, in my brotherhood, man is not what he's told. He must be what he knows. And the only way man can know is if he explores. You know what I'm saying? And so
Do I do?
I'm really glad I had a curious mind because I explored, man. I traveled a lot across the United States and learned about different cultures, Mayans, Aztecs, Olmecs, Toltecs, witnessed some of those descendants of those tribes, you know what I'm saying? The Chippewa, the Creeks, the Chickasaws, the Cherokees, the Blackfoots, the Navajos, you know what I'm saying? I learned about all these tribes and their traditions and I'm sitting here asking myself, why do we call ourselves black then? Why do we call ourselves this? Why do we live like this? Okay, so if God's law is the only law, what's this man's law? You know what I'm saying? What's the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? You know what I'm saying? What are all these things? What are color codes? What is Black's Law Dictionary? What are all these things that people are presenting us? And then this is not what they're teaching us in school. So now what's going on?
Yeah, that's
You
a
know
whole
what I'm
nother
saying?
conversation right there.
You feel me? But these are all the things that I'm asking my parents, and they're not able to give it to me. And so it
Exactly.
creates frustration because I'm like, damn, y'all my parents, y'all supposed to know these things, right? But then I had to check myself because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, they probably, the time that they grew up in, they probably didn't even have access to this information.
no. Or they probably just didn't even care to look.
Exactly. And so and because of what they were going through, you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yes, sir.
tying all these things. When a person is going through life, they not caring about gaining more knowledge. They trying to get money so they can survive and eat and have a roof over their head. They not worried about all the kidnappings and all the rapes and the
Nope.
human
No,
trafficking that's going on in the black
no,
market. They not caring about that, bro.
not at all. Not at all.
I got bills to pay. I'm hungry. I need clothes. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
these are all the things I learned with my father, man. I
good,
understood it.
man.
And the same thing with my
But
mom. And
yeah. And it seemed like it made you more introspective
yeah,
in your walk in life because you know in my generation we didn't have the time to reflect, think about what we did and learn from it. We just kept
mhm.
going. You dig
Right,
what I'm saying?
right,
Now we're
right.
living in an age where people can actually sit back and digest what's really going on and do some research. Back
Yeah,
then, it wasn't like that, brother. I mean, I'm probably around your parents' age, I would guesstimate, but and I was in the service too. So
okay.
my thinking as a youngster coming out of the military, Zagan, I was trying to kick it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so my
yeah,
my framework of being a parent and this that it wasn't. I wasn't ready, but when
yeah.
I started having kids, it made me change.
I feel
But
you. Yeah,
but some people, unfortunately, they didn't change. They were
they
still
didn't.
stuck. They were stuck,
They didn't.
and a lot of us, we are stuck. We're stuck, like mentally, spiritually stuck. We
Mm,
don't have the courage to say, you know what, son, I messed up. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to be
yeah,
better. We just keep
yeah,
it moving. So,
yeah.
and that's a big problem that in our community we have to check ourselves, and a lot of us don't have the strength uh, to do so. So, yeah,
Exactly.
we don't. But let me ask you this question, brother. You said during our initial conversation about your sister taking her life.
Yes.
Uh, Talk about that because that when you told me that piece, brother, that hit me, man. And you were young when this happened, correct?
Yeah, I was 18, 19, a freshman or a sophomore in college.
Okay.
And I went to Brighton Stratton Bayshore campus here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm walking before I could walk in the mall, I get a call from my dad. As I'm walking in the mall, he tells me Phaedra killed herself.
Mm.
And I'm just like, I had talked to my baby sister like 2, 3 days prior. You know,
Any idea of her going through mental distress?
well, I can say this. My little sister was a plus size girl. She wasn't that big. She wasn't big, chubby, chubby, but
Right.
she was a plus size girl. And you know, I guess she was having some issues with bullying at school that I didn't, she was talking to me about it, but I'm like, you not talking to our auntie about it, who y'all stay with, who y'all call mama in St. Louis. Y'all not talking to her about it. And if they was, she probably wasn't listening. And then, you know, I talked to my dad about it. He was just like nonchalant about it. I'm just like, and that's where I started to really not only dislike, but I damn near hated my dad for that.
Mm.
Because I'm like, he showed me then he wasn't ready to be no father. How my little sister kill herself and we don't go to the funeral?
You
That's
didn't
the
go?
first you supposed to drop school. He's talking about some, well, I got class. And I'm like, so the teacher not gonna understand that your little daughter hung herself and killed herself and you gotta go to this funeral. How am I gonna get there? So it was just that moment that, and then my little brother, they lived in the same house. So that's his big sister. They my little siblings. And I found out about them when I had graduated from high school and went out there and saw them for the first time. And we kicked it and had fun. I loved on it. I was like, man, look at y'all. They look just like me. They just light skin. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so
Mm.
I'm just like, man, just thinking about this. And that's when my little brother ended up here in Milwaukee, because my auntie ended up getting strung out on drugs after that. Heavy drugs. She met a man and he got her strung out on drugs. Now she in the hospital getting both of her legs cut off. It's just I'm learning a lot about my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. On both sides of the family, I come from military, I come from street, I come from pimping, I come from killing, I come from banging, I come from that. You know what I'm saying? All the statistics. Hold on, pardon me. Pardon me. Pardon me. All right, let's see. Hold on, wait.
How did your mom handle that?
Okay, we back on. See, that was in my mama's child. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
That wasn't with
No, that
she
wasn't.
wasn't with
I'm my dad's first child, and I'm my mother's last. You know what I'm saying? Yep, I'm
okay.
my dad's first child, and I'm my mother's last child.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and
I
so
got you.
you know, my mom didn't even she didn't understand, but she understood, but she didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was just growing up. We're really kind of, and I'm just being authentic and vulnerable. What really pissed me off about my father was, you know, even though him and my mom weren't together, she always looked out for that man. And that's what pissed me off about her too. Because I'm like, well, this man didn't even decide to marry you or make you his wife. Why are you still doing shit for him? He didn't marry other women, Russian women, all this other stuff. And you still doing for this nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like that was my mentality because I really hated my dad. I really wanted to do something to do. Like for
Right.
real, because I'm like, where's your mind at, bro? Like for real, where's your mind?
That part.
What are you thinking? Because
That part.
I'm only like that because when I was growing up, it was certain arguments I would have with my mom to where it resulted in her getting physically violent with me, and then I would defend myself. And now she telling the family I didn't put my hands on her when really you didn't initiated this shit. When all you had to do was just talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, now that I'm older and now that she's in her 60s, we able to sit down and talk and everything. She like, I'm really wrong about a lot of stuff that I did when you was growing up. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I
Hmm.
don't hold it over her head because she felt like I was holding it over her head and stuff like that. Even
That's good.
my dad was like he was like, you stupid, you don't know nothing. And I'm like, I'm like, that's the last straw, bro. This gonna be your last time disrespecting me, bro.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was in the newspaper because of you. I got letters from Jessica Dole, the governor's, I think, daughter or wife, you know what I'm saying, at the time in 2005. I still got an old letter from her just commending me on my good work and my service to the community. I wasn't in the military, but I did a lot of volunteer work in here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and other cities and states as well. And I done met a lot of people, shook a lot of hands, even at church, man. And it seemed like, all the good that I did, it wasn't appreciated by the people that I needed it and wanted it to be appreciated by. It was
Yes, sir.
downplayed. It seemed like
Yes,
that
sir.
shit wasn't good enough for them. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
And
Yes,
that's what
sir.
made me who I am today. I'm very independent. I don't ask nobody for nothing. I'm kind of like hesitant asking for help, even though I have a plethora of people within my network that be like, bro, I got you. They got my back. But then I be my own, we are our own worst enemy. Sometimes I'd be like, nah, because
Sometimes, sometimes.
here's how I think, bro. I'd be like, they got kids, they got a family they got to take care of. Would I look like asking them for 300 right now? Would I look like asking them for 1,500 right now? Would I look like asking them for 10,000? I might as well go get it on my own real quick and trust in myself to do it because I understand everybody else got kids. Everybody else got a family. Even my own peers, they got kids. I'm one of the rare breeds that don't have children.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not like that. I don't want any. It's just that now is not the time because somebody has to fight. It's almost
Indeed,
time
bro.
to fight, bro. And how you gonna fight effectively if you gotta pay attention to your girl, your baby mama, your 6, 7 baby mamas, or your 12 baby daddies, and your 15, 20,000 kids who y'all haven't even trained up to really focus on life and really do, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, man, I look at this thing from a different perspective when it comes down to my mom and dad, understanding that, healing from that, getting past it, and then looking at myself like, well, shit, you 32 now, you ain't got no kids. What's your issue?
Mm. So,
My issue,
are you still healing, or have you reached that point where you're like you can breathe?
man, I'm at peace. I'm at peace because and I'm glad you asked me that because a lot of people see it on me. My peace looks like evil to a lot of people. It looks like a vampire essence, not as far as like a blood sucking essence, but more of a laid back, chill, observing essence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
People
sir.
can feel my presence in a room when I'm silent. And oftentimes they be like, you okay? I be like, yeah, I'm just enjoying the scenery. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying being human because now I'm
Indeed.
so aware to myself. I know that I'm more than this body, man. I'm more than the soul. I am the spirit. I am the energy having a human experience. And this is just one of my many forms that I manifest in. And so for me to know this now, I was on that path growing up, but for me to fully see it now and to embrace it now, man, it gives me peace. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing it with everybody else. Now I'm able to understand everybody now. I understand it. I'm like, you haven't, you didn't have time to yourself like that. You
Okay.
didn't get time
Yeah.
to yourself. You distracted with everything, work, children, family, school, trying to be somebody
Yeah.
instead of really getting to know who you are without all of that.
Yeah.
That's what makes
Sometimes.
a person whole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying? You got
sometimes
to
you got to
really get
disconnect.
past. For real,
And
you got
sometimes
to
you got to
disconnect.
disconnect.
For real,
Yeah.
and really see things from a different perspective, man, and realize
Sure.
my children don't belong to me. My wife or my husband don't belong to me. My brothers and sisters don't belong. Nothing in this world, whether I buy it, whatever I acquired in this world, guess what? When it's my time to transition to leave, I can't take none of it with me. So I don't own it.
You
And we
don't.
spend our lives working over this illusion that we will own something. You don't even own the land. It don't matter how much money you pay for it. When you die, guess what? You can give it to somebody else. Guess what? You ain't gonna own it, and they might sell it and give it to somebody else just to get the money and do something else with it. So it's like we got to be more open minded as human beings, And
Yes,
this is the
sir.
lesson. This
Yes,
is the
sir.
lesson.
Yes, sir. Zegon, you mentioned a phrase during our initial conversation that I want to talk about with you. You mentioned the phrase generational learning. What does that mean to
Mm.
you?
Generational learning is with each and every generation. So I come from a generation, right? But I was also able to learn from the generations previous before me and know about that time and be aware to that, to really put me in a state of mind of knowing where we're heading towards the future with my generation on down. Because there were certain factors that weren't carried over into my generation that's making this generation worse than what we were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a lack of discipline, structure, respect, love, and humility. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Everybody's everybody wants instant gratification. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Everybody want to
Hmm.
be praised. Everybody wants to be known. Everybody wants
Right
to
now.
social media and market and promo, and yeah, that's good, but how many people know that you're a good person? You know what I'm saying? How many know you for being good? Yeah, everybody know you got money. Everybody know you look fly. Everybody know you got the nicest jewels and everything. But how
Yeah.
many people know that you are an actual good person? How many people can say, man, that brother, when I ain't had no food, he fed me. When that brother, that sister right there, when I ain't had no clothes, they made sure I had clothes to for my interview, or they made sure my son or daughter was able to have a prom outfit, or they was able to make sure my son and daughter had school supplies and stuff like that. Or you know what I'm saying? Anything of the sort. It's all about being a good person and not being good as in a goody two shoes. No, but actually being a kind, compassionate, passionate, loving, patient, long suffering person. These are the 12 fruits of the spirit, man. And as humans, we lack that, which is why we judge each other so harshly, especially when it comes down to each other's households. We judge each other so harshly, man, and it
Yeah.
just ruins things. It brings the energy down in the community. You can see nature dying because of it. Everybody wants to be consumers and not creators. And so when I talk about
Woo.
generational learning,
That was a
everybody has
nugget
to
right
get
there.
to the point. I'm serious. Everybody has to get to the point where, okay, what happened before I got here? And why did it happen? How did it happen? And what's the solution for it? And how can we prevent it from happening as we go towards the future? Because we always hear nothing is new under the sun.
Sure ain't.
And something should be new under the sun.
Hmm. We
Something
got to
should be new.
we got to search for that, brother. And speaking of
It,
which, let's tap into your poetry, brother. Let's tap into that. What made you get
yes,
into
sir.
poetry, and how much of an impact does it have in your life?
So poetry, um, English class is one of my favorite subjects. You know, I know we talk about the English language a lot, but I don't think people understand what the English language really is. You know, I don't even think people understand language at all because it's the ability to be able to express yourself. And we are given tools to express ourselves in some of the most beautiful ways you can imagine. I started writing. Our teacher used to give us prompts, DOLs. You know what I'm saying? Um, and we used to write about our summer. We used to write about our weekend. We used to write about what goes on at home. We used to write about the places we might want to go. We write about what we want to be when we grow up. And then she'll give us the opportunity to share it in class. So that's where that writing and public speaking comes in there, right? And so I did this eighth grade, middle school. You know what I'm saying? We had discussions on what we watched, you know what I'm saying? All of these things. But when I got into English class, Bayview, freshman, it was an English class that I had, and I started learning about. Um, I had learned about Maya Angelou and all of them when I was in fifth grade, but I didn't know about Edgar Allan Poe. I didn't know about Mozart, all these other, poets, writers, and composers. Man, you look at their work, you read their work, and you study their work, and you listen to it. It gives you chills. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Mhm.
leaves you with this impression, like, bro, how did you come up with such a marvelous work like this? You know what I'm saying? Like Edgar Allan Poe is dark, is heavy,
Yes,
is you know what I'm saying? It gives you that
yes,
feel of a lurking, haunting evil, but really he just demonstrating his time and who he is and his mindset about certain things. And it was just amazing, man. Reading that inspired me. And so there was a project we had and I had to create my own utopian society. Man, listen, that project made me go hard because I'm trying to impress the teacher, like with my creativity, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always an imaginary guy. So now that I learn how to write, now that I'm okay, so let me bring it back. So from third grade on up to this point, right? They teaching us how to use words that rhyme with each other, synonymous and all that. I got excited about that. At bat, cat, rat, fat hat, mat, tat. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was my thing, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then my mom bought me Dr. Seuss, and it was the same
Dr.
rhyme. I'm
Seuss.
like, dog, this is cold. Like,
Yeah.
and then I got to listen to the music,
Look,
and then
yeah.
the words started rhyming. I'm like, dog, this is like a hood Dr. Seuss. You know what I'm saying? So it's inspiring me on all levels, bro. And I'm like, well, I want to do it too. You know what I'm saying? And then the games I played inspired me. So I'm taking everything that I'm being inspired by, and I'm just writing my own thoughts down about how I feel about the things I listen to and what I've been through and all. And I'm reading it for myself, and I'm like, damn, I wrote this. I wrote this. It didn't even. This is where my mom found out because they told her there was like his reading level is college level, his writing skills is through the roof. Like you have a real intellectual son, and so but that it was appreciated and it was considered, but not really because people still don't know how spot on I am today, but they gonna find out. And it was just like learning all these things, bro. It just made me a sharp person, and it gave me the ability to want to learn more. Adding on to that, my godfather, the one who passed away, one day I was asleep, and I think it was Sunday morning or Saturday morning. I heard him come downstairs, and I usually have all my poetry laid out on the pool table because he had a pool table downstairs, and
Okay.
I had my poetry, and I used to stay up late, like early in the morning,
Right.
and come up with new poems based off of certain words and certain titles and certain pieces that I wrote. And it was just certain words to highlight, and I'll come up with new pieces right on the spot in my head, bro. I'm
Yeah.
cold for real. And so I heard him one day. I ain't never heard this man shift through my papers before, but I heard him one day, man, and it just had me just I was laying there, my heart being fast, listening to him shift through my papers. And it was just an excitement, but a nervousness, like, I wonder what
Yeah.
he gonna say. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I'm excited to hear. And
Right.
man, listen, one day he was preaching and he got to rhyming. I was like, dude, he was reading my stuff. He was reading my stuff. It was just amazing. It amazed me because he like my godfather was a youth pastor. He was all about the youth. Like he was about us. He made sure we was right on my life. He got us. We love that man. We love that man. Like he was bro. He was the man. He was everything, bro. Like he kept us engaged, bro. He spoke to us, bro. He made the word clear to us, bro. Like he kept us engaged, and when he passed away, bro, that hurted us all, bro. I'm telling you because he really motivated me to speak, like to actually go ham, like cause how he would, I was like, man, you could just see the spirit on him. You could just see the spirit on me, and that's how I knew poetry, writing, anybody can't do that. You gotta have the spirit for that. That's not something everybody can just do. That's why you got a lot of people that got ghostwriters. Everybody can't write a dissertation or a piece that will move you or have you thinking beyond yourself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
so that's what all of those things did, man. And now I was on the poetry scene for I think 11, 12 years. I did my first poem at 3041 here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with the brother Antone Bishop, who was doing Tour Nation at the time here. I had to been at least in my 20s, my early 20s. And then from then on, I went from somebody who was just signing up on the list to somebody who started opening up or closing for shows. And then with me listening to other poets, it really inspired me, and I started really working on my penmanship and my skills. And so
Okay.
now every time I come to the poetry set, I got a new piece that I memorize every time. But my delivery wasn't there yet. So I heard two specific poets and they just lit me on fire. I'm like, oh, I like how you said that. And I like how you delivered that. And I like how you quieted up. And then so
Mm-hmm.
now I'm starting to learn the dynamics of
Got it.
performing arts, right? And
Yeah.
so now I go from, the way I was doing poetry to really incorporating my own style because of how I was inspired by other poets. And now I'm getting that big crowd reaction like they was. And now it's geeking me up. So now people starting to see how cold I am. Now I go from the once newfound poet who was just new on the scene to Xegon, the Universalist hosting. Like now I'm hosting shows. And now I'm making the crowd laugh. And now I'm doing pieces while I'm hosting shows. And then I'm introducing the next poet. And now
Right.
I'm performing with heavy hitters. And I went from that to being on a roster with heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
helping out doing shows and hosting and watching other. I'm watching the people who I'm watching now. I'm with the people who put the people I was with on. So now I went from being around this particular group to being around the people who inspired them. And that was amazing to me because now I'm like, damn, I'm around the people who inspired y'all to do this. So now
Right.
we all jamming together. I done been on radio shows, bro. WNOV 860, kicking it on the porch with Quabana and so Nixon.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of campaigns with him, the I Will Not Die Young campaign and Be Inspired Works. And man, I done been on the roster, you know what I'm saying, meeting students, talking with them about life, their journey, and any questions that they had, answering those questions, you know what I'm saying, giving them good insight, especially the young brothers. I go to Real Man Real Talk, which goes on every
Yeah. Right.
third Monday of the month. I also
Okay.
do
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
men's circle, right? That's going on right now today. And we just inspire, man. I went on my whole journey, bro, led me to these moments, bro, of where I'm able to speak and I'm able to listen to other people's stories, but also empower, uplift, and encourage them along the way, no matter what age they are. And so, yeah, that's what I mean by generational learning. When you
Good
have
stuff, man.
generational learning, is about being able to always commit yourself to being a student. I don't claim to be a teacher. Everybody else call me the teacher. And I'm gonna say this, and we could go to the next question. One of my OGs told me, one of my brothers, one of my big brothers, he said, "Man, you ain't gotta claim anything. Let the community crown you king, and then you'll know who you really are."
Mm.
And
Because
that
when the
hit me
community,
hard, man.
yeah, because when the community talks, that means, hey, people are listening and they're showing you that
Exactly,
respect, brother. It's your name is getting out there. You dig what I'm
exactly.
saying? So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so it was a lot of things that was left with me by a lot of brothers from 70 to 40, between 40s and 70s, man.
Hmm.
Um these brothers have really greatly influenced me, and I really give my honor, love, and respect to these brothers because after my godfather died, bro, I thought, man, I really felt like I didn't have a guardian anymore. I felt like Mufasa had died. You know what I'm saying? I felt like, you know what I'm saying, I felt like my father had died. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he was to me. You know what I mean? And I miss bro a lot, man. I still think about him till this day. He told me something. I think I was 16 at the time, and I was in the street smoking with some of the church people, and you know what I'm saying, kicking it with the ladies a lot. And he told me then, because he knew I had a calling on my life. He could see it. He's seen it, but he was still trying to figure out why is you still trying. He said, "Why is you still trying to be out here in the world?" You know what I'm saying? I was smoking weed, using his holy oil to cover up the smell, and it wasn't working. I'm talking about that man was furious with me. And then look, my god sister in there was smoking with me too. And guess where the hell they at? Downstairs in the basement, sleep already. I'm the only one showing up to the house late
Oh,
and shit. Like, and it
you
was
showed
just
up though.
I
You
did, but
showed up.
he was not bro was a full blown pastor. He did not play that, bro. He was not with that. I was his armor bearer too. What that look like? A pastor with a armor bearer that smoke weed with the church members. Like that is not cool. You condone that?
No, it's
You know
not.
what I'm
It's
saying?
not.
But I learned so much in these moments, man. And it just helped me, bro. So now when I see brothers my age and I see sisters my age, I be like, man, y'all don't want to live that life. I was like,
Yeah,
but if you do, it's a certain way you go about it to where you don't ruin your own life.
yeah,
Now I'm able to give the details that they didn't give us. Now I'm able to give the clarity that they weren't able to give us. This is why I gave the adults such a hard time. You gonna give me this information. I don't care if you have to yell it. I don't care if you get frustrated. But God gonna give it to you to give me this information so that I can give it to everybody else because y'all holding back. And I don't know why y'all holding back. You know what I'm saying?
yes, sir. What's next for you in your journey, Xegon?
What's next for me in my journey?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Well, honestly, bro, um, at this point in time in my life, I'm in Christ mode, man. I'm in Buddha mode. I'm in Buddhist mode. I'm in Christ mode, but I'm also in warrior mode as well. I'm peaceful, man. I understand the world and what's going on around us. It has to change. It has to evolve. It has to transform. In addition to that, I'm also learning that I am a part of the few who will bring about this transformation with the fire. Fire is an element that purifies things. It makes everything that is tainted pure. And so I am here to purify the world. I am here to purify humanity. I am here to get what's tainted off of us through the way that I live, the way that I speak. I'm here as an example, you know what I'm saying, to show you, hey, you can go through life and still love. You can go through life and still be kind. You can go
Yeah,
through life and still be a student. You can go through life and still help people out. It doesn't matter how much hurt you've endured. It doesn't matter how much pain you endured. All that will heal. You know what I'm saying? We were made to heal. So stop living as if you're dead already. You're not dead yet. Even if you do die, guess what? You'll be reborn into another form. So it's just that's where I'm at with it. This journey is taking me towards the path of the shaman, man. It's taking me towards the path of the shaman, enlightening people. You know what I'm saying?
indeed.
That's seeking. I don't force it. I don't just tell people the information. I just out of the blue. No, now I know how to read the room. Now I know how to read the crowd. Now I know how to read people because I done read myself and spent time with myself. And so this journey is taking me towards this poetry movement, creating platforms for other writers, other speakers to speak their story, tell their story, and enlighten others of their generations so they can enlighten others of their generation so we can see a better generation moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Also getting engaged with the adults more, you know what I'm saying? The adults and the elders and really being that bridge, you know, like Christ was for humanity to God, like being that bridge to connect the young and the old and say, hey, we all can still work together. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your degree, it doesn't matter your status in the military, it doesn't matter how much money you got. We still can work together and be successful and we can accomplish a lot without nobody feeling like, oh, well, they trying to count me out or they leaving me behind or they don't care about me or they trying to abandon me. No, that's not what it is. What it is everybody's growing at their own pace, just like the trees. The bushes don't grow tall like the trees, but they endure growth. You know what I'm saying? The grass don't grow as tall as the trees. They can, but it don't grow as tall as the trees, but it grows. You know what I'm saying? The trees lose leaves and branches and stuff, and that decomposes in the ground. So when we all realize that just like the ecosystem, we were made to be synonymous uh in unison, in harmony and balance with one another, we will not kill each other. We will not harm each other. We will not enslave each other. We will not try to control each other. We'll just share this life together and just keep each other balanced, keep each other sharp, iron sharpen iron. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Each one teach
Indeed.
one, but
Indeed.
one's got to be able to. Ones have to be able to really gain the peace within. We got to stop looking outside of ourselves for the things that God already designed within our DNA. For
Yeah,
real. And it's just like Dragon Ball Z, man. If Goku and Vegeta never did all that training, they wouldn't even been able to
being able
ascend
to
all them levels like that,
same.
bro.
Right.
People, we was making a joke about it, but they kept saying, you know how many times Goku died? And I was like, you know how many times they brought him back? And every time they brought him back, he was stronger than what he was before he left,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's elevation. That's what happens in life. When you go through life, perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, not some of them, all of them. So there's a flesh, there's a soul, and there's other forms and cycles that we have to pass through before we can return back unto our original state. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with it on this journey, man. Check me
What's up,
out,
man?
Poetry Extreme MKE. That's on
Poetry
IG,
Extreme.
Instagram. Yes, sir. Poetry Extreme MKE. That's on IG, and check me out, XEGON underscore the underscore U. And the U stands for universalist. Yes, it does.
Okay, brother. Woo. This was a deep interview, man.
Man, I thank you
I
for
really appreciate it.
having me. I thank you for having me, bro, because this is was a great opportunity to really shed light on a lot of things as far as the parent and children relationship, and then our
Indeed.
relationship to the world, and then
Indeed.
our relationship to God, man, and one another, man. We need to have more things like
Mhm.
this because I really know and trust that this podcast, along with other podcasts, will reach the masses, and people
That's
will
my
watch
hope.
these
That's
things,
my
and
hope.
man, it's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna happen because God ordained it to be. And we are on a mission. You and I both, along with others, many are called, few are chosen. We're on a mission, man. And this mission,
Yes.
it's not easy, bro. We gonna have to do some fighting. We ain't got to do a whole bunch of yelling and talking, but we gonna have to do some fighting. But the fighting we gotta
Yes,
do
sir.
is the good fight. It's the good fight, man. It's not a bad fight.
Amen,
It's the
brother.
good fight that we have to do. So I thank you, man. I really appreciate you, Mark Ross, for having me on this podcast
Yeah.
and speak your truth, man, because everybody needs to speak their truth, which comes down to a whole truth. You know what I'm saying? For sure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, King.
Yes, sir, my brother. You have yourself a good evening, man.
You too
Peace
as
to you,
well,
brother.
man. I appreciate it. Peace, King. Much love
Yes,
and
sir.
peace.
Peace, brother.
Make sure you
Yes,
send me
sir.
the link
Peace.
too.
Hey, man. All right. Cool. I'll send it to you.
All
All
right.
right, man. Peace, brother.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. My name is Mark Ross, and this has been another episode of Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. And remember, self-care is important. So please make your mental health and your physical health a priority every day first. You guys have a good night. And we'll be here next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m.